You might ask, well, why would you ever want to be in a co-op? Well, there's several reasons why people like co-ops, especially in some major cities around the world, and why they can be a very popular alternative to things like condominiums. One is cost. That a housing cooperative are usually cheaper than a condominium. Hi, this is Anita from Real Estate Crunch. Today we're going to talk a little bit about co-op or the co-op housing society. And in particular, we want to answer the question, who owns the land or who's the landowner if you're in a co-op housing society? This is actually quite confusing for a lot of people. I know at first it was really confusing for me until I began to study more about it. The short of it is that in a co-op society, that co-op stands for cooperative, or the association that owns the land. And that you, as an owner in a co-op, you have a share of that co-op, which would be for the amount of your unit or your house that you own. So it's kind of like an alternative to condominium, where condominiums were a group of people all, sort of join and live, together. But a condominium, each person has their own individual ownership. In a housing cooperative, it's the cooperative that owns the actual land, and you own the shares for the amount of your property that you have there. You might ask, well, why would you ever want to be in a co-op? Well, there's several reasons why people like co-ops, especially in some major cities around the world, and why they can be a very popular alternative to things like condominiums. One is cost. That a housing cooperative are usually cheaper than a condominium. So the cost aspect of it is usually one of the major reasons why somebody may buy into a co-op versus buying into a condominium. The other thing is that the co-op allows people to pool resources. It allows the members to pool their resources to have better buying leverage for the services. They can, in a co-op, you can decide who joins the co-op. So this probably is one of the biggest advantages of a co-op, that if you want to live in a co-op that has, certain type of people are living in the co-op, then a co-op actually will be able to, you'll be able to decide. That's why sometimes you might hear people that have to interview, to be able to get into a certain type of, co-op or society. And that's because the co-op can decide who can actually go into the co-op itself. Now, if you have a condominium and your neighbor has a condominium, your neighbor owns the deed to that, and they can sell it to whoever they want. Even someone you don't like can go, next door. Or in a co-op, it will be the co-op will decide who actually joins or comes into it. Some of the, cons of the co-op is you don't hold the property title. So, you're not holding the title. You're not holding that, that title to say, look, I own the property. It can have restrictions. Many housing co-ops have restrictions placed upon them. And so they may have more restrictions or more covenants than a condominium. And this, of course, can be really good if you want to have something where you want to live in a place where people can't have loud parties, or, they can't maybe do some other things that you dislike. Maybe they have to put their garbage out a certain way, or they can't, block the hallway, or they can only move during certain times, or, whatever it may be, that the co-op has the restrictions for. So if if you don't mind that, and if you actually want to have a place that has some of those, it may be the right choice for you. One of the things too is that with a co-op is, you may not be able to just sell to anyone, because, as we said before, most co-ops will vet or decide the people that can go in. Of course, the advantage of that side is that the co-op association is helping to already vet the people that are going into the co-op. So that's kind of like, essentially what a housing co-op is about. And I could see where in some ways this could be advantageous, and it could end up being a really great thing for someone. And I can see in other ways where it may be something that somebody says, no, this is not for me. This is Anita from Real Estate Crunch. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. And if you have, we'd love to hear from you. We also have a blog written about who are the landowners in a co-op housing society, where you can read our blog. We'll put the link below and you can be able to learn more about this if you're interested. We'd like to thank our team, especially Rico helps put this together for us. And thank you all, our listeners. We know without you it would not be possible.